everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Natalie Astorima and today we're going to do a brow tutorial. This is what I've been using for my brows or doing for my brows for probably the past year or two when it comes to kind of my favorites and how I shape my brows. So if you want to see more on this look, keep on watching. Mainly what I've been using or what I use for my brows are three products. One happens to be the Anastasia Ash Brown Brow Powder Duo. Say that a few times. So this is great. Like the colors aren't too warm, they're more of the ash tones, and those are the colors that I use along with the Anastasia 7B brush that has a spoolie on one end and then this angled tip on the other. And then one of my favorites that I like using as well is the NYX Microbrow pencil in the color Espresso. I have, as you can see, pretty dark colored hair, so I like kind of matching it. Sometimes I go a little bit lighter, sometimes I go a little bit darker. So I usually go with this kind of combination right here, and that's what we're going to do today. Alright, so I first take this fantastic brush. At first I was like, do I get it? Because the NYX, this pencil has the spoolie on it as well as this. But this one's actually pretty great. I can find it at CVS, find it at any drugstore. And it's really easy to find. They have a good variety of colors as well. So I thought about like not getting this one, but it's been super useful for brushing it out and then also using the angled brush. So I go ahead and just brush my brows up. I do have some missing spots like up here and here. I first brush them out, and then what I do is I first use the lighter color of these two. So I'll use this one right here, and I always consider this one to be the darker of the two. So I do the light color first, and then that'll be kind of at the top portion of this part of my brow, and then I'll use the darker version as soon as I start here, and then kind of go blending them as I go coloring it in. I go ahead and just take the angled brush, and I just dip it into this little part right here. I do tap it, and then I pretty much, sometimes I kind of gauge where I want to start. I see that I have, this is probably like this little gap right here that I have up here. So I kind of just brush it up, and then I just kind of start right here, and I do a quick little stroke right there just to kind of fill in the gap. And you can see that kind of fills in that part right there. So as soon as I do that, I go back to that same color and I invert the brush. So usually some people use like this. I invert the brush so I can stroke up like this. So I kind of go from one end of this beginning of this brow and just brush up with a little bit of that color. And when I need more, just go in for more, tap, and just kind of keep going. What I'm doing when I invert it and I'm creating these little strokes is basically look-alike hairs, right? And so I'm going to start going from, I've now, instead of inverting it vertically like this, I'm starting to give it a little bit more of a horizontal kind of edge, and I'm starting to brush up just so I can start getting some color into the other parts. And I'm still using that lighter color, and I've pretty much started drawing a line, as you can see. And then probably once I get around this area, then I start combining it with the lighter color and the darker color as well. So we're not, we're trying to like basically blend both shades from one end to the other. So I will go ahead and just tap one end, and then I'll just go ahead and just do the other one, and then I just go like that. And I do have a little void in here, so I'm just going to go ahead and just kind of fill that little void with that powder, and I am just taking it and going like that. I'm just taking that combination of both colors and just kind of doing quick little strokes all the way to the end. I don't like curving the brow too much. I do like giving a little bit of length and then start dropping. I'm still combining those two colors, and then now I'm going to start going on top. Alright, and so just to kind of fill in these gaps, and we're doing this, and I start, and my brush is pretty horizontal. It's not vertical at all. It's completely horizontal, and this, as you can see, is completely just the powder right now. Alright, so I am using both powders, and we're going like this, and right at this is the part where you're creating just a little bit of that slight curve. I am going to use the majority of the darker color now on this end, right on that curve, and I tend to just kind of squish my eyebrows a little bit, but I just kind of look at the curve and just kind of create it as I go. And this is sometimes where I do bring in the pencil to kind of create a little bit more of those boundaries. The powder is great. I like the powder just because it comes off a little bit more natural, I'd have to say. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with my pencil, and it's just have it to get the little spoolie, and I'm just going to take a little bit of it, as you can see, just a little bit of that product, just kind of do quick little strokes like this, and then bring it down. Alright. And the reason for brushing it out is to make sure that all the colors are blending and you don't have this, like, you can see different tones, so you always want to be brushing it out to make sure that everything is, and then I start going into the actual hairs. Okay. Alright, so as you can see, I do create a little bit of an angle. I don't like squaring my brows here. I think that is a no-no, but when you kind of still want to create that it has a semblance of a brow. So I focused obviously the quick little strokes up in the front in the beginning, but now I am going to take the pencil and I'm just going to do the same thing, and I'm just going to take quick little strokes up again like this, and I'm taking the lightest touch on my brows. It's not, you don't need to put a lot of pressure because then you're going to have these like Sharpie looking eyebrows and no one wants that. So I go like this and just kind of fill in that little space because I still have some voids there. And I flip it around and I brush up. As you guys can see, this kind of creates that nice brow. Make sure they look good. Okay, so you guys can see from one eye, hiding the pimple, from one eyebrow to the other. Obviously you can see that this one is darker and this one has some voids in it. Okay, I'm going to clean up this eye just a smidge. I'm going to use my NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in the color Custard, and I'm going to go to a Mercedes Estorima brush, and I'm going to use, I use Custard just because it's the color that looks most like my skin tone, or this top part that is a little bit lighter of my brow bone. So I am going to use that, and I'm going to take it, I'm just going to go that, and then just take this nice little, take a flatter brush, looks like that, and I'm just going to kind of dip it into my Radiant Creamy Concealer and just kind of go like this on the brush itself. Alright? And then we're just going to take that and just kind of clean up the area. You don't go too, I like using a color that's pretty close to my skin tone because obviously you don't want it to look like super white where it looks like you've highlighted your eyebrow. So I just kind of do this, and it's mainly, this is just to clean up some of the area. And sometimes I don't have to always do it directly on the brush. You can also just put it directly on the brow bone like that, and just kind of, and you guys can see that that's kind of creating that pretty edge on that part. I will take up some of that color on this end right here, but be very careful not to box in that area, because that's the last thing that you want to do is box in that area. Bring down the color, and then sometimes you could just take your finger too and just kind of make sure that that color is not like super pigmented against it. I'll take whatever's remaining. I don't like putting too much color on top, and just kind of clean up whatever area looks a little out of place with whatever's remaining on that brush. And that is that one brow. I'll go ahead and keep brushing it up just to make sure that I didn't miss anything. And so I'm going to do the exact same thing that I did with this eye, or this eyebrow, I'm sorry, to this eye. Okay, so I am back. I have both brows on right now, and so now I'm going to use my Tinted Brow Mascara. I like using this. Majority of the time I can go without, like during work days and stuff, I don't have to use this. But when you do want to kind of calm your hairs just a little bit, I take in the color, this is in the color Espresso as well, and I just kind of take a little bit of that mascara, that brow mascara, and just kind of calm the hairs down a little bit. So I just calmly just kind of do this to my hairs to kind of flatten them out. Alright, so they're not all over the place. Pardon my... Perfect. So you can see that it kind of tames the brows a little bit so that you're not too too much like that. So this is the final look. I ended up using my favorites, which were when it comes to Anastasia Beverly Hills, I used the brow powder due in the color Ash Brown, as well as my dual-ended brush, which is 7B, and it has that spoolie and that angled edge on both ends. I did use, when it comes to NYX, I used the Tinted Brow Mascara in the color Espresso, as well as the Microbrow pencil in the color Espresso. To clean up at the edges, I'd have to say I used my Radiant Creamy Concealer from NARS in the color Custard, and then this great little flat brush by the Mercedes Estorima collection and of her brush collection. So I'm really excited with the way that it turned out. I hope you guys were able to learn how I do my brows. Brows are one of those things that are very unique to every person. So, but for me, this is the way that I do my brows. I hope that you guys enjoy this look, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!